Welcome to the Show Me the Shift podcast with Coach Lenora, certified life coach, HR certified professional, international best-selling author, and creator of the Victorious Movement, a members-only community where she coaches her members from stuck to action and from scarcity to abundance in the areas of mindset, goal setting, and monetization online. The Show Me the Shift podcast was created to encourage people to action in the areas of their career, purpose, and how everyday people can generate an income by being an affiliate of other people's products. Here is our host, Coach Lenora.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. It is unfortunately the last weekly Show Me the Shift show. And so I am continuing with the podcast, meaning me interviewing other entrepreneurs who have shifted from employee to entrepreneur. However, the 3 times a week podcast that I have been doing, this will be the last one. And so today we are going to focus on purpose, as we typically do on Fridays. And so I am going to share some information about why people don't pursue their purpose, why people allow other things and barriers, maybe even their comfort zone or fears to hold them back from pursuing the purpose that they are supposed to pursue. And the reason that this is so passionate to me is because of the fact that I have always felt as though people need to pursue that God-given purpose that was put inside of them, because it was put in each of us for a reason. Some people know what that is. They know that they know what that particular purpose is. Other people don't really know or haven't taken the time to discover what their purpose is. And so what I have just wholeheartedly believed is that if you take the time, if you sit still in the quiet, if you ignore the fears and get out of your comfort zone, what your purpose is will show up and stand up for you so that you can see it and step into it. It's just that everybody doesn't have that go, that drive, that determination to be able to step into what they're called to do. But if we all did that, because everybody is called to do something different. You have some people who are called to be educators and to work with children or to be professors in colleges. You have other people who are called to you have other people who are called to do other things. You might have somebody who is called to serve other people in different ways, being a writer, someone who, and that you have a book inside of you. You just haven't taken the time to put it into place, right? You have other people who are very much interested in doing something for the community, being an activist, being someone who has a 503c, whatever it is. But there are different people who have different interests, desires, and passions. And if we all pursued that, just imagine what a wonderful world this would be. And so based on that, what I wanted to do was just close out today with some of the things, again, that hinder people from moving forward in their purpose. What you will find in place of this content is more content that I am going to be publishing that is either going to be videos or other types of content that I'll be putting out on social media to speak to these same topics, but just not in the avenue of the Show Me the Shift podcast. Okay. And so on that note, we're going to talk about, being comfortable in the discomfort. That's one of the ways that people are really not moving forward in what it is that they want to do, which means that, hey, I have a job and maybe it's draining me. Maybe it is something that I just know is not what I'm really called to do, but I don't feel as though I have any other options. So I am comfortable in this discomfort. Maybe I know that I hate this particular cycle that I'm in of going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home, stopping by the grocery store, coming home, whatever those things are, excuse me, but knowing that you are not comfortable in that, but at the same time, knowing that it's just my routine. It's what it is. I'm a routine person and this is what I always do. So I'm just going to continue to do it. Or you feel like, it's not fulfilling, but at least it's familiar. At least, I'll stick with the devil I know versus the devil I don't know. And that also is something that keeps people in the discomfort as opposed to the comfort. But the truth really is that familiar doesn't necessarily mean that you are being faithful to what it is that you're called to do. Think about it. Fear and faithfulness cannot live in the same space. So if you're fearful of something, you can't be faithful to what it is that you've been called to do. And if you're being faithful to what you're called to do, and I actually heard Cat Williams say this, he's like, what do I have to be scared of? Because I know that I'm following everything that I am supposed to be doing and that it's God written, it's God ordained. So therefore, why should I have fear when I know that what I am doing is what I'm called to do? So that's something to also keep in mind as you are just pursuing whatever goals that you have for yourself and for your life. The other thing is that growth doesn't happen in your comfort zones. I heard someone say just last week, comfort isn't going to happen, or growth isn't going to happen if you're comfortable, and comfort isn't going to happen when you're growing. So you have to realize that you're not going to be comfortable if you're growing into who you are called to be. And so keeping that in mind, again, growth isn't going to happen if you're comfortable, and comfort doesn't happen when you're growing. So you have to know, and just think about that. Like when you went off to college, it was uncomfortable probably. You might have been excited, but you were just like, I don't know. Am I going to do well? Am I going to make it? Am I going to be smart enough? Based on all these other kids coming from all these other places and the education that they had. Am I going to make it? And feeling a little bit uncomfortable going into maybe a lecture hall with 300 other people, if you went to a school that was that large. Or maybe, when you first started driving, it wasn't comfortable, right? You're like, oh my gosh, what am I paying attention to? You're looking at every mirror, you're looking at every, situation in the car, and you're just like hyper focused, but at the same time probably a little uncomfortable. And then you grow into the comfort that you're supposed to have. So just keeping that in mind as well. You also have some people who are simply tired of trying, right? They're tired of trying. They're tired of just surviving. And God wants us to thrive. God wants us to have everything that we ask for. It says, whatever you ask for in my name shall be given to you. So therefore, why are we not putting everything into knowing that he wouldn't have put these desires into our heart if it wasn't for the fruition of that to actually happen, that this is to come to pass. And so we have to realize that we should put, kind of, if you're thinking about it from we have to be all in. We just have to figure out, how do we be all in for what it is that we know we've been called to do, and what's our purpose and what's our passion, right? So you also have where people hide behind busyness. So it's like, oh, I'm too busy to do that. Oh, I don't have the time to do that. When life slows down, I'll go ahead and take care of that. Or I'm just too busy taking care of everybody else that I really can't focus on those things that I need to do for myself. Or, maybe one day when things settle down, I'll go ahead and decide that that's, time for me to step into what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. But when you think about it, we don't have anything that is promised to us. There is no time that is literally promised to us. So our purpose does not, it will be there. But the thing is that will we be there to fulfill it? That's the thing. Like, will we make the time? We make the time for the things that are important. You have people who make the time to not only go to see a motivational speaker, to see a movie, to go not only see, but to plan a whole vacation around seeing a concert. Let's say Beyonce. You have people who take a whole 3-4 days, make it a whole event. You go, you get the tickets, you have to fly there potentially, or drive there. You're paying for a hotel. You're going to the concert and spending time there. You're spending time just getting out of the parking lot after the concert and then going back to the hotel, maybe spending 2 or 3 days wherever you are. All of those things, it's like you make the time for the things that are important to you. So what is important to you? Is your purpose, is what it is that you've been called to do important to you? And are you going to be that person that when you're 80 sitting on, your porch with a swing, are you going to be like, I really wish that I had taken the time to do what I know that I was called to do. I really wish that I had decided to go back to school to do this. I really wish that I had went ahead and pursued my singing career. I really wish that I wrote that book that I know that was in me and I should have written. Like, those are the things that, you just have to ask yourself these questions now. and say, what is it that I may regret when I am of a certain age and feel as though all the time has passed me by? And what I would even challenge you then is, even then, it's not going to be too late. Even then, it's not going to be too late. If you still have breath in your body, it's not too late for you to pursue what you've been called to do. Okay. And then the last thing we'll talk about here today is that, some people just feel like they're waiting for a sign. What is the sign? What is it that I'm going to see? God hasn't made it obvious to me yet, and he'll make it plain. If he wants me to move, he's going to open every door to show me the way and to show me how to do that. Now, I am a big person on signs, and I will say that when it was time for me to pursue my purpose, God did show me signs, but, and this is the but, I had to take the action. You may be having signs that it's time for you to pursue your purpose. However, are you taking the action on the signs that you're seeing, or are you just saying, nope, these aren't the signs, it's something else? He would be more grandiose than this. He would not give me just tiny little things that are popping up on my feed, the little, banners that are showing up on my Facebook, or the little videos that I see on TikTok that are like, or Instagram that are, oh gosh, that's right in alignment with what it is that I believe. You might not think that those things are the signs, but the thing is that you have to put action behind it, and you have to work for it. You have to prove how bad you want it. Because if you didn't have to prove how bad you want it, everybody would already be working in their purpose. So yes, God will show you signs. They may be big signs, they may be small signs. You have to be aware of the signs. But also, as the signs show up, what do you do with that? Do you step into it? Or do you get fearful and step away from it because it's going to take you out of your comfort zone? And so, you can't wait for confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. I mean, either take the action or just realize that, you're not built or not equipped to be able to take the action towards what it is that you're called to do. But I challenge that too, because of the fact that you won't know what you're equipped for until you step into what it is. The whole staircase and the whole way of being able to do everything does not unfold all at once. You have to take a step, and then the next step will appear. And then you take that step, and then the next step will appear. Every person who ever started an adventure or a business or even a trip from one state to another never knew the entire destination the first time that they went out. They either had a map, or they just trusted that the GPS was going to give them the next turn after that and the next turn after that. And that's how we have to look at our lives, that those things will happen for us. We just have to be ready and be patient. Okay. And so on that note, that is everything that I wanted to share today in regards to pursuing your purpose. Just know that it is definitely a purpose within you, that you can take the time to determine and figure out what that purpose is. And if you already know what your purpose is, you really, 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 I just can't say this enough, but you really should try to figure out, how do I, knowing what my purpose is, put action behind it, set up some small goals or ways in which I can move forward in it, so that way the success will come. The desires of my heart are real, and they're here for a reason. Okay. And so on that note, I do invite you, as always, to participate in the Victorious Movement. It is my members only community where we talk about things like that. We talk about discovering your purpose. We talk about goal setting and intention setting. We talk about, how do you master your mindset for those situations and instances in which you feel like, I have limiting beliefs, that I am a procrastinator, that I am somebody who does not put action behind my goals, or I get distracted very easily, and things of that nature. We talk about those things, but we also celebrate each other and celebrate the successes that everyone has, in order for people to move from where they are to where they know they have been called to be. And so I would say, if you feel as though that is a challenge for you, then I would highly recommend that community. And I hope that you all have an amazing, amazing, amazing rest of your day. Again, this is not the end. This is just a kind of small blip in regards to having something every other day for during your week for the Show Me the Shift podcast. And instead, you will see the podcast from just the interviews that I am holding with people who have made the shift, but the content will still be here from me, Coach Lenora. Okay. So on that note, everybody have an amazing rest of your day. Take care of yourself and a great weekend, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.